Love and light, everyone. This is Reiki Reverend, and I'm here with the Healer's Musings. Tonight, I'll be covering part 2. That's right, part 2 of my Reiki 1 series. Absolutely free. All you have to do is give a listen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned, and I will introduce the concepts of Reiki 1 absolutely free. If you missed part 1 of my Reiki session, my Reiki 1 course, please feel free to check on the playlist of your local podcast station and make sure you click on part 1, listen to it. There's some really good info there. It's fairly long, so it covers a lot of ground. In any case, I'm going to be starting back with the same manual. For those of you who may know, I'm going to be covering the lesson 4, the history of Reiki. Now, a lot of people have some type of idea already about where Reiki came from and how it came to be. That's all good. Now, the main thing that I want to convey to the listeners here is that there is a very interesting history to Reiki that should not be discounted just at its face value. So, that being said, I do encourage anyone listening to this podcast to investigate on their own into the deep history of Reiki, in terms of where it really came from, what all of the ideology and the history of the life of Dr. Mikao Usui really is, and just how far it's gotten. As you'll listen, you'll understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about, in terms of how the history has changed over time. Much like with any form of word of mouth, Reiki itself has also been altered, changed to better suit the common man in the especially the United States. So let's go ahead and start. Lesson 4: The history of Reiki. The Japanese, like many ancient cultures, used word of mouth to pass their history and practices down from generation to generation. Unfortunately, this led to a lot of knowledge and wisdom being watered down or lost. A lot of people involved with Reiki believed that the techniques we use today were first used in India by Buddha and later by Jesus. Others took a look even further back to the civilizations of Mu and Atlantis for the birth and development of Reiki. Of course, without any written proof, we can only just speculate how humanity learnt how to harness and develop this universal life force. What we can be certain of and confirm is that it was rediscovered at the end of the 19th century by Dr. Mikao Usui. Until comparatively recently, apart from the tomb of Dr. Usui in Tokyo, there has been very little material evidence of his life and work. Most written accounts on the history of Reiki declare that Dr. Usui was a Christian monk who lectured at Doshisha University in Kyoto. One day, a student asked Dr. Usui if he believed the teachings of the Bible to be true. Could Jesus walk on water? Could he heal people by touch? Audaciously, he questioned if Dr. Usui himself could heal the sick just like Jesus. Usui had to admit that this was beyond his capabilities. I mean, beyond a lot of people's capabilities. I don't know very many people out there who can just sit there, lay on hands, and just be like, yo. But we try. Embarrassed at being asked such questions and unable to demonstrate an answer, the story then goes on to say that Dr. Usui immediately resigned his post and began a personal journey to discover how he could heal the same way that Jesus had. The legend becomes even more doubtful when it recounts, you heard me right, doubtful, when it recounts how Dr. Usui decided to begin his search for the secrets of healing like Jesus in America, namely the University of Chicago. Now, Reiki Master William Rand has been able to disprove the legend of Dr. Usui's search for enlightenment in America. Chicago University has 0 records of Dr. Usui ever attending as a student. Furthermore, there is no record of Dr. Usui ever attending and lecturing at Doshisha University. This work by William Rand confirms what many people believe, that the history of Dr. Usui's life has been changed or colored to suit Western society. Logically, there are far too many holes in that specific legend. Now, why would I share with you a legend such as that just to say that it wasn't true? Like I said, do your research. Trust and believe is well worth it. There are books like Reiki Fire out there by Arjava Peter that will account for the life of Dr. Usui in far more depth than what I'm covering today. The life of Dr. Usui, as written in the manual. Mikao Usui was born into a family that had been practicing Zen Buddhism for 11 generations. As a youth, Usui developed a fascination for all things Western. However, he never traveled outside of Japan. After leaving school, he went on to study allopathic medicine with several Western allopathic physicians who had graduated from Yale and Harvard University. When a cholera epidemic spread throughout Tokyo, Usui was struck down with disease. During his hospitalization, as he was close to death, he had a spiritual experience. This inspired Usui to study the ancient teachings of his ancestors. He joined a Zen monastery and began reading the ancient Sanskrit and sutras. After many years of study, Usui then found resources to an ancient form of healing. Further study revealed methods, formulas, and symbols that detailed exactly how to practice and master this art of hands-on healing. However, although he had the technical knowledge to practice healing, he then lacked the wisdom to turn these teachings into reality. He needed the key to turn on and activate the power. Usui decided then to seek the final piece of the jigsaw through meditation. Taking leave from the monastery, Usui then set off to the holy mountain of Kurama. When he reached the top, he picked the 21 pebbles that are so special in today's Reiki culture, placed them in front of himself, and I'll explain why in a moment. He sat down and began his meditation. Each day he threw away one pebble. For 21 days he prayed, meditated, sang, and read the sutras. Now, I'll take a little breather here to explain why the 21 pebbles are so important. The 21 pebbles represent the 21 days in which most people sit and meditate on their Reiki 1 attunement. After Reiki 1, most practitioners and masters will really heavily lay on that you need to sit and wait. About 21 days, approximately, for the energies to sit right in your chakras and in your body, in your mind, just so that you're not overloading yourself with Reiki. It's quite common in our society nowadays for people to just go out of their way and just say, hey, let me get Reiki 2, hey, let me get Reiki 3, right after their Reiki 1. And this is very haphazard. I have seen it happen myself. I have witnessed it happen myself. I emphasize that twice because of how important it is for you to understand. Do not discount the power of Reiki 1. I actually have a blog set in my website, reikireverend.com, where one of my students actually performed several amazing healings just with his Reiki 1 education. So do not discount that power. The 21 days actually represent 3 cycles. That's 3 cycles of Reiki going through your chakras, each individual one. So each of the 7 main chakras 3 times. That would pretty much set you up to be absolutely right with yourself and right with Reiki in that regard, to then pursue your study of Reiki 2. This is just important because it's it's one of those things. I'm not gonna lie, I've just seen people flat out just have so much of a healing trauma from just the Reiki working so quickly on their lives after all those attunements to make their spirit, for lack of better terminology, make their spirit right to channel and transmit Reiki. Sometimes that process can be very harrowing, and it must be respected in order for it to work properly. If not respected, and you try to rush through it, then there could be consequences depending on how the structure of your mind as well as the structure of your reality is set. That being said, it's rather important. That also being said, rather important, not absolute. I have seen people teach Reiki 1, Reiki 2, even Reiki 3 over the course of a weekend conference. Now, this is not to discount those practitioners or masters. This is merely to say that it is not something that I would recommend personally. For each individual person, I would place that on a case-by-case basis. Me, myself, I have attuned people to Reiki 3 within a relative span of time, I would say about 3 to 4 months, and they've been perfectly fine. I've also attuned people in the span of about 3 to 4 weeks, and I've seen them just go pretty bad. And I've also done the same thing with other people and seen them work out perfectly fine. It really just depends on your path and your understanding of self. That being said, I would look very deep within yourself before you pursue an education in Reiki that quickly. Back to the story. On the last day of his 21-day meditation, Dr. Usui at that point prayed and asked God to show him the light. All of a sudden, a bright light appeared from the sky and just shot down towards him, just smacking him right there in the forehead, right in the third eye. He was then KO'd, and whilst in his altered state, had a vision of the same symbols he found earlier in the sutras. The vision was the confirmation that Dr. Usui needed. How he then knew he had found the keys is a little bit of a missing no, but at that point, he was with it, you know? I mean, I don't know very many people aside from, well, the average common day American, or the average common day folk, or the average common day, well, you get what I'm saying. I don't know too many people who would just discount the fact that they just got, like, beamed down from the heavens, holy light that knocked them unconscious for long enough to have a spectacular vision that was a confirmation of all the symbols they had just learned. Now, placed in the common day psychology, one can understand that being on the mountain for 21 days, thinking about the same thing over and over again, probably not getting very good sleep, and then finally getting knocked unconscious by some unholy light, would more than likely cause a sequence of events to occur similar to that. But, you know, I'm not a psychologist. Anyway, the vision was confirmation that he needed. He felt fulfilled. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, he felt fulfilled. When Usui regained full consciousness, he then proceeded down the mountain. Now, here's the cool part. On his descent, he stubbed and cut his toe. Now, that's not the cool part. Just wait. He instinctively, at that point, placed his hand on the toe, and the bleeding and pain stopped. Whoa. On the arrival at a nearby village, he then stopped to eat and rest. I mean, who wouldn't, right? He was able, despite having fasted for 21 days. 21 days fast. I don't know if any of you have ever fasted for 21 days. That's pretty heavy. He was able to eat, speaking of heavy, a full, healthy meal without any stomach pain. That's power. The girl who served Usui the meal was in great pain, suffering from a toothache. Now here's part 2. Usui then asked if he could place his hands on her swollen face. She agreed. He was actually able to ease the suffering of the toothache, of the swelling, of the pain, and she and him were both amazed. Rested, Usui then returned to the monastery. On arrival, he found his friend, the abbot, in bed, suffering from severe arthritis. Once again, Dr. Usui, with his hands, was able to alleviate the pain and suffering. He called this gift from God Reiki, the Japanese word for universal life force. These experiences became known as the 4 miracles: the toe, the meal, the toothache, the arthritis, the 4 miracles. Having demonstrated his knowledge and a new ability to heal the abbot then advised Usui to take his special gift into the slums of Kyoto to heal the beggars. He was reminded that it is not enough to simply heal the body, but it is of equal importance to also heal the mind and the spirit also. This lesson was brought home to him very abruptly 7 years later. Having spent time giving Reiki to the beggars in the slums of Kyoto to get them working, keyword giving, he found them returning to him with the excuse that it was easier to beg. Now let me take a sidebar here and explain something very important to you all. When you see light workers, when you see healing practitioners, when you see energy workers giving their Reiki freely, giving their energy freely for your benefit, your well-being, your conscious rising, your ascension, your awakening, all that good stuff, they are doing it from the kindness of their hearts. They're doing it from the kindness of their hearts. That's their energy to give, far be it from me to stop them. However, in the same token of a sense, when you see somebody asking for financial inurement, for money, of any way, shape, or form, for a healing service, that is perfectly valid. That is perfectly fine. You know why? Because it is not easier to beg for healing than it is to receive healing. It's only an illusion that it's easier to beg for healing than it is to receive healing. You know why? Because that ease of use, that ease of time that you just spent right there just asking, that opportunity cost you just spent right there, that is also what could wash away the maximum healing benefit you could receive from a session. It's all psychological, really. You see, when you request for a healing service out of the kindness of your heart and you wholeheartedly accept it in the mind, body, and spirit, and you are totally in full and utter belief that it's going to work, far be it from me to stop you, maximum power to you. I wholeheartedly say that the healing will indeed aid and assist, as intended. However, for those people who are a little skeptical, a little bit on the shaky side, a little bit on the lines, I don't know this guy, I don't know his energy, I don't really feel him, I never experienced Reiki before, you know what I'm saying, this is kind of weird, I don't know, I felt like a little tingle in my arm, I don't really know if there's anything different though, I don't think I want to go pump iron with my broken arm though, that type of deal, you know what I'm saying, like, if you don't have full and utter faith in the practitioner, full and utter faith in Reiki, and full and utter faith in yourself to recover, then you might as well pay. Because that's an investment in yourself. At that point, if you're dealing with somebody who's of a decent level, they would help you out regardless at that point. They would then help you out regardless to seek a proper resolution. Even if your arm isn't magically mended to be able to lift the weights. Over the course of a few sessions, as I said in the last lessons, you may recover faster. Now, me personally, and the reason why I'm saying all this is because I can only speak personally. When you get services from me, I don't offer such things as like a money-back guarantee, but I do offer resolution compromise. By resolution compromise, I mean that if you're not completely and utterly satisfied with the resolution of your healing, with how the healing session worked out for you personally, if you didn't feel anything at all from your healing session, then I'll do my best to investigate. I'll do my best to resolve. I'll do my best to make sure that you do have a positive experience with me. That being said, I can't speak for other practitioners, but that's personally why I charge. Because I charge because I want to invest in you, and I want you to invest in me, so we can have that equivalent energy exchange. That way you don't feel like it's easier for you to beg, as much as you feel like you got a service from somebody who's dedicated enough to provide it for you, who's dedicated enough to ensure that you are healed, who's not just sitting there on Facebook Live or sitting there on some other live service, broadcasting their healing energies to the cosmos with the hope and whim and prayer that it's going to work. No, I'm going to do my best to ensure that you, at the very least, feel better about yourself after everything is said and done. There isn't some type of magic bullet that's going to just penetrate your body, mind, and spirit and force you to believe that. No, and that's not my goal. My goal is to ensure that you have a positive experience and that you are able to come back from the whole of the healing holistically altered. That means holistically better. So that's why I personally charge. But anyway, detracting from the point. It's not easier to beg if you aren't willing to accept the healing. It's not easier to beg if you aren't receiving a maximum benefit from the healing. Usui had forgotten a basic doctrine at that point. Mortified, he retreated to meditate once again. This time he was enlightened by the 5 principles of Reiki. Now these 5 principles, here we go. The rest of Dr. Usui's life was spent healing, teaching, and developing the Usui Shiki-ryoho method of healing. Usui had 19 major students, and all were Western allopathic and traditional Japanese in their practice. Now, those principles themselves I will cover later. He knew he would have to develop a method that he could understand, that could be understood and accepted by any religion or culture, which is why Reiki is universal. He fashioned Reiki to have no dogma or religious beliefs attached to it. So if you're Christian, you can practice Reiki. If you're pagan, you can practice Reiki. If you are agnostic, you can practice Reiki. If you're atheist, you can practice Reiki. It's spiritual based, but it's not wholly spiritual. If you believe in energy, you can practice Reiki. That's simple. Tenno, the Emperor of Japan, honored Usui's work by awarding him with a doctorate. By the time of his death in 1930, Dr. Mikao Usui had initiated all 19 of his students to the level of Reiki Master Teacher. Dr. Chujiro Hayashi was chosen as the next Grand Master. It was important to note that Dr. Usui taught all 3 degrees together at once. Now, isn't that special? All 3 degrees together at once. How many practitioners in the United States or in the world at this point do you understand does that? Well, you might know one pretty soon. Hint, 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 hint. Anyway, Dr. Usui was cremated and his ashes placed in a Zen monastery in Tokyo. Upon the death of Dr. Usui, Dr. Hayashi took over the role of Grand Master. He was responsible for training a further 16 Reiki Masters and creating a set formula for training. It was Dr. Chujiro Hayashi, who was born into the upper-class Japanese family and was a qualified physician and retired Marine commander. This guy, the next Grand Master, he set up a clinic near the Emperor's Palace in Tokyo called Shina no Maka. I can't translate that right now, but if you gave me long enough, I would. Anyway, each day his students held sessions at the clinic or visited people in their homes if they were unable to travel. Dr. Hayashi went on to write many reports on the systems he had developed to treat various ailments. Special diets incorporated into these treatments, remember, holistic, to assist in the healing process. Probably his greatest achievement in Reiki was to discover the importance of whole body treatment and how the universal life force would go wherever it was needed to heal, with its inherent intelligence wherever it was needed to heal, providing, of course, you applied the full body treatment, treated all chakras. This was needed to remove any emotional or physical blocks. We'll take a sidebar here before we get to Madame Takata. To say that if you are only focused on one chakra or one area of the body, it's possible that whatever you're experiencing, pain, blockage, whatever, is going to move or then shift in the body. So if you focus on that direction, then it's probably going to move further along that direction or in a completely opposite direction. However, if you focus on the whole body, you go through the process of scanning for these, and this will come out later on if you should decide to get the actual course. I'll teach you how to scan down the body, and I'll also, or even if you listen to one of my earlier podcasts, I may have mentioned it, how to scan down the body for various ailments or issues, and then you were to, then at that point you would discover where the issue is, and you would work your way up from top down to the bottom, that is crown chakra down to root chakra, to kind of work it out. It's just like a massage therapist at that point. You're not going to go straight to where it hurts and just work that, that muscle group. You're going to want to work the surrounding muscle groups as well. You want to make sure that everything in that area is totally copacetic. And by doing that, you may upset more, which is why most massage therapists will not just sit there and massage the one spot. Just give it a good once over with their elbow. They're not going to do that. They're going to go through your entire body and make sure you have a holistic relaxation. Anyway, Hawayo Kawamuru, or otherwise known as Hawayo Takata, was born on the island of Hawaii on the 24th of December 1900. At the age of 17, she married Saichi Takata. They had a happy marriage with 2 daughters. Tragically, her husband died at the young age of 32. After 13 years of marriage, Hawayo Takata was left to raise 2 small children on her own. The stress and pressure of that situation then took a toll on her health. Within 5 years of her husband's death, she was diagnosed to be suffering from nervous exhaustion. Her health deteriorated to a point where she required surgery for a diseased gallbladder. However, she was also suffering from respiratory problems that meant the use of anesthetic during surgery could kill her. Now here's the cool part. This was an extremely depressing and trying time of her life. Unfortunately, there were more pain and suffering that come after her sister died. Cool part's still coming. As her parents had returned to live in Tokyo, it was Hawayo Takata, her traditional responsibility to bring news to them in person. Now, let me take a sidebar and say that cool part's coming, by the way. These are extreme situations that Hawayo Takata went through. They are very serious ailments, and she did go seek proper medical treatment. And that's the utmost importance. I'm going to bring it back just because, I didn't cover it in this time. If you are going through anything medically, mentally, physically, mentally, that would require medical assistance, do not rely on Reiki as the sole proprietor for your ailments. Don't do it. Go seek help. Go get help. Suggest that to your clients as well. Go seek help. Go get help. Anyway, after her arrival in Japan, she sought help at a hospital in Akasaka. Now here's the cool part. It was discovered that wait for it. It was discovered that she now had a tumor and appendicitis to add to her diseased gallbladder and respiratory problems. Her weight dropped dramatically, and her doctor advised her to have immediate surgery. Okay, not so cool. Yeah, I'm getting there. That night, as she lay in bed, she heard a voice saying, "Here it comes. The surgery is not necessary." The next day, she appeared. The next day, as she was prepared for surgery, she heard the voice again saying, "The surgery is not necessary. Ask. So, Takata did the only logical thing at that point and just asked the surgeon, "Hey, is there any other way I could be healed?" And at that point, the surgeon's like, "Yeah, right out there, man." He told her of the Reiki clinic run by Dr. Hayashi. The surgeon had a sister who had been there herself and recovered fully from an illness. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. Madame Takata then went to a clinic and received treatments regularly for 4 months and was completely healed. She decided that she also wanted to learn Reiki and set up her own practice in Hawaii. Cool, huh? Against all tradition, she was eventually able to persuade Dr. Hayashi to allow her to work and train at the clinic for 12 months. At the end of this time, it was felt that she had earned the privilege of receiving the second degree in Reiki, the advanced practitioner level. Now, dig that. 12 months of training before she received her level 2. How many practitioners do you know? This is just a survey question, by the way. How many practitioners do you know who took 12 months, a whole year, before they got Reiki 2? I know of a few personally because I've taught them, but that's epic. That's full and utter commitment because they weren't going about their day. She wasn't going about her daily life without this ritual of going to the school to learn Reiki and practice Reiki consistently. So it's not like, she was average Jane going about her 9-to-5 job, coming home, sleeping, waking up for about 8 to 10 months, and then coming in for a few months at a time, in this year, and saying, "Hey, let me train." No, she was going there pretty regularly for the entire 12 months. That's dedication. And if you should show that much dedication in your training, trust and believe it will show in your practice. In the summer of 1937, Madame Takata returned to Hawaii and set up her own Reiki clinic. She spent her time at that point healing and teaching Reiki. Dr. Hayashi visited Madame Takata in February 1938 and invited her to become a Reiki master. 37 to 38, another year, before she was invited to become a Reiki master. He then said that she had gone through enough tests and lived up to the Reiki ideals and principles. She was the very first woman and the first foreigner to be given this honor. Hayashi then returned to Japan. At the beginning of 1940, as you know, Japan was close to, that one thing with America. Dr. Hayashi was aware he'd be called up to fight. As a man of healing and peace, he then decided the only honorable thing to do was to precipitate his transition, to make darn well sure his affairs were in order. So, as he was doing this, Madame Takata woke up one morning and saw a vision of Dr. Hiyashi. She was very intuitive. At the foot of her bed. She realized she must then immediately travel to Japan. On arrival, she met with Dr. Hiyashi and he explained his decision to leave. They spent many days planning the future. When Hiyashi was satisfied he had safeguarded the future of Reiki, he called all of his students and friends together and said, "At this point, Madame Takata will be the successor and the third Grand Master of Reiki, the very first woman to be a Grand Master of Reiki." Dressed in traditional Japanese attire, he then laid down and allowed his spirit to leave. Madame Takata was then installed as the next Grand Master and returned to Hawaii to continue her teaching and healing. This is how Reiki made it from Japan to America. This is when also the story of Reiki was changed to portray that Dr. Mikao Usui was a Christian. Madame Takata realized that the American people and the Western world in general would, hurt us, kind of have certain feelings toward the Japanese. I mean, who wouldn't? There was that one thing between the Japanese and Americans. Soon after, it would be impossible to promote a method of healing with its roots firmly in Buddhism in Japan. I mean, let's face it, that happened. Madame Takata went on to train further 22 Reiki masters before her death in December 1980. There were 2 Grand Masters installed to continue Takata's work. This is also where the Reiki split into various ideas and factions, schools of thought. Now, Phyllis Lei Furumoto, which is the granddaughter of Madame Takata, rest her beautiful soul, and Dr. Barbara Weber. This partnership was to run only a year until for personal reasons they split up to continue the work separately. Like I said, different thoughts, different ideas. The Reiki Alliance was formed by Phyllis Lei Furumoto, while Dr. Weber set up the AIRA, the American International Reiki Association. Unfortunately, like many special things in this world, the human ego has taken hold. There are now several different associations throughout the world, all fighting amongst each other, each claiming that they have the, quote, correct way of teaching Reiki. Not even my way is the, quote, correct way of teaching Reiki. Let me tell you what the correct way of teaching Reiki is. Meditate, pray, do whatever you feel is right. Ask Reiki to enter your spirit and let it take you on a journey. That is the proper way, the, quote, proper way of teaching Reiki. But that's not the way that people teach Reiki, is it? Nope. So here we sit. Stay tuned. There is even a system of Reiki now being taught in, get this, 11 degrees. The latest rumors of an application to copyright Reiki seem to show how far this wonderful gift from God had been tainted. Now, God being a subjective term for higher self, spirit, all that good stuff, you understand. There's only one Reiki, the, sit down, meditate, pray Reiki, not the all-encompassing 11-degree Reiki. No one has the right to claim it as their own. It belongs to humanity and the universe. Our only wish is for the future of Reiki that instead of fighting and bickering, everyone involved with Reiki can once again come together and unite in the true spirit of healing. Let's share our experiences and skills so that Reiki can be accepted universally as a natural treatment for mind, body, and spirit. We need to work together to promote this cause. It is vital in our increasingly harsh and violent world that we change the whole psyche of humanity. Together, we can bring this gift of healing to the world. We need Reiki practiced and used in every hospital and clinic in the world. That's right, every single one, because it is a holistic approach, a complement to the medical field. It's not a competition, and it never will be. It just is. So let's spread the word positively. Let's make a difference. Let's make Dr. Usui, Dr. Hiyashi, and Madame Takata proud, as well as the late Phyllis Lei Furumoto proud. Let's honor their work and their memory. Let's live and internalize the Reiki principles. And I'm going to just briefly cover these principles because I want to embed within you a small exercise before I end this podcast, and I will cover the 5 principles in depth on the next episode. But I just want you guys to meditate on these, and I'm actually going to go ahead and turn the music up so you guys can really just vibe with these, and then we're gonna end the show in Reiki. So before I go into this, I just want to thank you all once again for being a part of my healing journey and listening to my healer's musings. Love and light, everyone. These are your 5 Reiki principles. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. I just turned the volume up, that goes crazy. Anyway, sorry. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. Just for today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. Just for today, I will be kind to my neighbor and every living being. Just for today, I will be kind to my neighbor and every living being. Chokure seiki onshaze shonendai komyo chokure seiki onshaze shonendai komyo chokure seiki onshaze shonendai komyo. Chokure seiki onshaze shonendai komyo. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. Just for today, I will be kind to my neighbor and every living